Good evening, hockey fans. Welcome to Puckett, the show that gives it to you straight. The Stanley Cup edition. We are at Game 6. Joining me is my co-host Edward and John. Cohorts.
Really likes the
Co-host.
doesn't he?
He
He wants cohorts,
Edward
people. He doesn't want co-hosts. He wants cohorts.
Correct. All right. Yeah. So, guys, last week we talked. This week it's Game 6. Florida up 3-2. Do or die for the Edmonton Oilers. It's put up or shut up time. You're down at Sunrise. We'll see what the Amerant Bank Arena tonight. We'll see what they can do. What do you think, guys?
Go ahead, John.
Well, you know what's funny? In the entire playoffs, I think momentum doesn't mean anything. I mean, teams will win. You'll look at it and say, oh, wow, this team won game 5. They're up 3-2. They won the game 5-1. They head home and lose the game. You know what I mean? Like I've noticed there's been really no momentum game to game. So tonight we'll have it. So every game in this series feels like it has its own thing. Like I don't feel like anything is built on the other. So tonight you're going to get Skinner again, which I think he shouldn't have got pulled last game. I thought that was kind of messed up after all the chances. They played horrible in front of him. But he gets back in there. And I got to tell you, I mean, it really, really, really is important that Edmonton gets that first goal. Finally, they haven't had it in a couple games, and if they get we might have a good game tonight.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be pivotal for them. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I was gonna, you kind of stole my thunder. I was gonna say that, like, you've seen that in this series that the first goal is so pertinent. And I tell you what. More so for the Edmonton Oilers. Man, it's so important to get that first goal.
Is it definitely Skinner? Did they confirm?
Yeah, it's Skinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that. I really do.
Yeah.
And I know Klingberg is in tonight, and I think Arvidsson comes back.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. I got the lineups if you want me to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So Oilers, first line, you got Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Corey Perry. You got Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl, Kasperi Kapanen, Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique, Trent Frederick, Vasily Podzolkin, Matthias Janmark, and Connor Brown. And Stuart Skinner. Scratches Victor Arvidsson, Troy Stecker, Joshua Brown, Cam Dineen, Ty Emberson, Max Jones, and Derek Ryan. And then you got obviously the Zach Hyman injury with the dislocated wrist. Panthers: Carter Verhaeghe, Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart, Evan Rodriguez, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, Anton Lundell, Brad Marchand, Eetu Lustarian. I know I butcher those names. AJ Greer, Thomas Nosek, and Jan Gadrovic, and Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikola, Seth Jones, Nate Schmidt, Dmitry Kulikov, Sergei Bobrovsky. Scratch, you got Jesper Voquist, Uvis Balins. I can't ever pronounce his name. Jacob Megna.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Volquist.
Nico Sturm.
Volquist.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
Uvis Balinskis is.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even better that time, Bill.
Huh?
I said it was even better that time.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
tremendous. I think the big scary thing is there's Hyman. They miss him more than I thought they would, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it is and from a stupid hit too, an unnecessary hit.
Yeah. If I said this the last time, happy Tuesday, Daniel. Happy Tuesday, brother.
Yo,
I said this last week, and I still believe this. Florida's just really playing loose right now. I just do you kind of get that from them? I mean, they just don't. It doesn't seem like they're really. It just seems like they're playing a lot loose than. Seems like Edmonton's gripping the stick pretty tight right now.
well, I mean, Edmonton has the entire country of Canada who's leaning on them for a victory. That's got to be a little bit daunting, don't you think?
Yeah,
Adds a hell of a lot of pressure.
And they're. I mean, obviously, once Florida got Marchand, the team became. There's no third line like that in the league anywhere. There's no team that can deal with them. Not a team. I don't care who you even put out there. No one's going to deal with that. That third line is better than every other third line in the league for sure. Probably better than most second lines. And I think you could see the gripping of the stick, sure, because here they are again now. Think about the legacy parts of this. We're here again. And if they lose again, then you got the Florida issue and you didn't get through it. You don't get back. How many times can you get back? And yeah, I think there's got to be a ton of that, just inner pressure, let alone, like Ed, you're saying Canada, the whole deal of them. But geez, I think Coach Knobloch, for my opinion, I think you want to, I know he's a calm guy. He's real calm. But I thought that switching to the goalies there showed a little bit of a desperate feeling to me. I didn't think that was necessary. I thought Skinner was fine.
Yeah, a little panic. I thought it was kind of unnecessary panicking.
Agree. It was unnecessary because the shots were 18-3 that period, and Skinner was just getting steam. And he played well, I thought.
Well, it was the people in front of him. That was the biggest problem. I thought that was kind of a knee-jerk reaction that was kind of not needed.
And Edmonton has only scored 3 power play goals. They're like 3 or 4 for 34. That cannot continue tonight.
Especially with Florida's so active on the defensive side when they're killing penalties. You figured there'd be more lanes open, but they end up being in the box more than anything. That's what's killing them. Yeah. They're stupid penalties they took. They lost so many games to just stupid penalties. Will they be disciplined tonight? I don't know.
At one point, Evander Kane, I thought, was like, and I'm talking like back against Dallas and the other series, he was one of the best players in the league in the playoffs. He was playing great. And ever since game 3 or whatever game it was, when he got that penalty early for high sticking and it just didn't stop with him, he's kind of neutered himself a little bit. He's not the same. Tonight, he just needs to keep his stick down, and he needs to be Evander Kane of normal, where he is a problem for Florida. He's one of the guys that can be a problem. And if he's neutered and he's not doing that, well, it's kind of useless, So I think he's got to be back. They got to get him back into. They got to sit him down and tell him keep the stick down, not these stupid penalties. If you're going to get a penalty, make it hurt, not the kind that hurt because not the kind that hurts because you get scored on. The kind that hurts because they feel it. A lot of them have been just stupid.
Absolutely, and Edmonton really needs to flip the script and just play. It doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter. You just play and you play like you love the game. You go out there and they just have to have that mentality. Because that's what Florida's going to have. Florida knows they have a game in hand, essentially. They have 2 shots at winning a second straight cup. So why wouldn't Florida go out there and do this? Edmonton go out there and just relax. Relax and play hockey. Because they're way, way too tight at this point.
Yeah. Let's kind of re-look at what happened in Game 5. On Saturday. Calvin Pickard gave up 4 goals and 18 shots in that 5-2 loss.
Yep.
Skinner, I don't know. It was just, what did you guys see in that game?
Edmonton not playing defense again.
Yeah.
Right. And he was out of position on at least 2 that I remember, but again, they have to commit to defense. It's the only way you're going to win. And Florida knows that. Florida is floating on ice. They're relaxed. They're having fun. I don't think Edmonton has had fun yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. That Florida's loose. They're playing loose, and they're just going out there and just handling business. And they're not really, They're
Yeah.
not. They're playing
Exactly.
loose right now, and Edmonton just can't seem to get out of their own way. With
They have to get that power play going. You can't be 4 for 34 and in the Stanley Cup Finals and think you're going to win. You have to get. They've scored 4 power play goals. They've given up 7.
Right.
Edmonton got to make difference tonight, and when they get their chances, it's how watching the Leafs play them. It's how Toronto even came close. It's how they won Game 6. They had this exact same game where Toronto went to Florida, and they won 2-0. So I think Edmonton could probably recreate that, but they got to score on the power. They just got to. They got to get that power play going.
And when you look at leads in the series, Edmonton is only led for 33 minutes and 51 seconds in the series, compared to the Panthers, which is 200 minutes, 225. Yeah, I mean 200 minutes and 25 seconds, and I think that speaks volumes because when you're constantly chasing a game, guys, you get into a situation where you have to take chances. You have to take chances, and sometimes when you're constantly having to take chances, you leak defensively a little bit, and you let up things going the other way. And I think that's kind of what's happened when you look at some of these games. That's what I've seen.
How does Florida blow a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals, lose the game? I mean, they blew a 3-0. Think about that. That was a 3. That's huge. If that happens any other time, that's a big story. That story kind of got frosted over. That was a 3-0 lead they had that they blew and lost a game in the finals, and it meant nothing. Think about it. I mean, that's really crazy. That's usually a big deal. That hasn't happened in 100 years. I forgot when the last time that happened. It's been like it could have been the early 1900s the last time someone did that. And it just, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Edmonton there's something missing, and I think we know what it is missing. I think, Ed, you might have hit on it a little bit. It's not an excuse, but it's a fact. The Zach Hyman loss changes everything because that guy led the league in hits. He plays Florida's game right. Anytime they needed a goal, he was there on the power play to get it. Killing penalties, he was the best penalty killer. It kind of, they're missing something, and that's maybe where we're at.
I describe him this way: he's a great equalizer to how Florida plays. He's.
And think about it: you lose 3 players. You lose the best penalty killer. You lose the mucker grinder in front of that on the penalties, and you miss one of the people that hits the most and is the heart and soul of your team. You can't lose that. I mean, he was that important to them, and they could not afford to lose him. And it was such a non-hit, which was the worst thing about it.
Just looking at stats and how the series is going, no team has overcome a 3-2 deficit in a cup final by winning a Game 6 on the road and a Game 7 at home since the Lightning did it against the Calgary Flames back in 2004.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, Edmonton, this is do or die for them. This is it. I mean, you're obviously, I mean, you lose this, you go home, and Florida hoists another cup on home ice. But, they're going to have to dig deep on this one, boys. I mean, they got their work cut out for them. I mean, Connor McDavid, I think, said it the best. He said this after Game 5. He says, we put ourselves in another difficult spot. He said, when you look at it, we're not making it easier on ourselves. He said, and we put ourselves in another difficult spot, and now we got to try and work our way out of it. Well, yeah, I mean, you do. It's you've got to work your way out of it to stay afloat. So
and they're full of excuses sometimes. And they have to like John's. You have to stop feeling sorry for yourself. I mean, just get on with it and let's go. Go have some old time hockey fun.
Right.
That's
I think that's what they need to do in this game. If I'm Knobloch, I'm like, hey guys, go out there and play your game. Play loose. Go out there and have fun. Go out there and let's bring us back to Edmonton. You know, let's make it a game 7. Let's bring it back. You know, let's
and take your chances at home in Canada. Why not?
right. You know,
For me, they're just so tight. You know, unnecessarily so.
but I agree. I mean, they Panthers score first. I think it's done, man.
Mm.
I think it's. I don't think they're going to be able to recover. I just don't.
Well, they can't mentally. That's for sure. You know, their heads and watch. I guarantee they score. Their heads go down. They start thinking the worst, and then guess what they end up with? They end up with a loss, and they get a second cup in a row.
The other thing you can't see tonight is at about a minute and 30 into the first period, an Edmonton player looking at the referee wondering why a penalty was called. They got to stay clean. They can't keep doing that. They can't keep taking these dumb. Now, these 2 referees tonight, by the way, I'm forgetting their names, darn it, but I know they're the same 2 referees that called 7 penalties in the first period. That one. This is the same group. So I'm curious how the penalties will go down tonight, because they like calling them, these 2 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, for me, it's got to be egregious, right? And you can't. And once you start calling them, you have to be consistent throughout. And that's from the first minute to the 60th minute. None of this putting whistle away at the end. You know, even if and I could envision it where they have a chance, to win the cup, and they're just hacking everybody because they know the refs aren't going to call it, right?
Definitely.
And that's just nonsense. That's what I hope that doesn't happen. But truly, I mean, they have to be, just be consistent is what I say.
All right, let's look at the Oilers. So let's look at some lineup changes here. So obviously we got Skinner back in net tonight. You got forward Kasperi Kapanen going to be back in there, replacing Victor Arvidsson. Kapanen was a healthy scratch for Game 5. He played the first 4 games. He had 3 assists, I think, right? Something like that. So he's back, and then you have John Klingberg, defenseman. He's going to return. He's going to replace Stecker, which I tell you what, he didn't look too good in Game 5. I know, he put, Klingberg was in there for the first 3. They put Stecker in there for the last 2. But when you're looking at it, I mean, last 3 games. John, you're talking about the power play. Last 3 games, you're 2 for 13 on the power play, and Game 5, you're 0 for 3.
And really, what that does, it also empowers Florida. Florida doesn't care; they know they can beat that power play. So,
right,
penalties, them, who cares? Let the referee call them. They're just going to be even more bold.
Yeah, and on the other side, Florida, not expected to make any lineup changes for the 4th straight game. Can you blame them?
They ain't broke.
Yeah.
I don't think they've made a lineup change since Game 2 of the League Series. I don't think they've changed this lineup at all. Unless there was an injury that I missed. I don't know.
They changed it a little bit in Game 1. They did change it a little bit again. It's a 4th straight game without making a lineup change.
Wow.
So, Paul Maurice.
Yeah,
I mean, Paul Maurice, he's looking at this like, hey, what we've got on the ice in our lineup, it's working. It's working. We're okay. We don't need to make any changes. How about Brad Marchand? I mean, God, this guy is just,
So that brings up the topic, though. Where does he rank all time at trade deadline deals?
I tell you that
the best ever.
Well,
this might be the best ever.
I mean, there's a couple here that might challenge.
This might be his. I don't even know. I was trying to think of one. It's a great question because I was trying to think of one today. I don't know. This one is one of the better ones I can remember in a long time. I can't see. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know of any other one. I'm sure. I'm trying to think if Tampa might have done something that I'm thinking of or I'm missing, but
Antoine Vermette in Chicago in 2015. He had 3 game-winning goals, 2 in the last 2 rounds, including 2 in the Stanley Cup Finals. You got Marian Gaborik, LA, 2014, had 14 goals and 22 points in the Cup run. Jeff Carter in 2012 when he went there. You had Hossa go for Pittsburgh, 26 points in 20 games. I mean, there's a couple up there. I mean, not since we can remember. You know, Hagel maybe. Hagel and Paul, is that what you were thinking about in Tampa?
Yeah, them guys. I mean,
yeah.
This guy though, he made such a what a difference when you have him
God,
as your third line. I mean, it's go look at who's on that roster right now who would be there if Marchand wasn't. It'd be just a total. I mean, that third line isn't.
They're not scoring.
No, they're not. It's he wasn't.
I think it's
the
one
Bruins.
Of the best. Yeah.
And the Bruins should probably get it. I think after they win the Cup, Florida should say something and give Boston some kind of credit and thank yous because, my God, they gave him away.
They really did.
They did. Well, you know what? And that's nice. They gave Marchand a favor. They were nice to him, and they probably should because you know what? Marchand always took less money. So they gave him a break. Good for them.
I mean, in recent years, I'm trying to think. In recent years, trade deadline. I mean, I know some in years ago. Recent years, I can't think of anything that was. Maybe Mark Stone to the Vegas Golden Knights back in 2018, 2019. What else? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
they didn't win the Cup.
McDonough to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
he was impactful.
Yeah, I mean, how about maybe Marian Gaborik with the Kings back in the day? I think that was in 2013 when they won. Or no, 20. When was that? I don't even remember when that was.
Brown, I think 2012, 2013. I think you're right.
Yeah,
2014.
Yeah.
14. Okay.
Yeah,
But
he is done. Plus the fact that he's the chief agitator, and the fact that they really let him get away with what he's getting away with is really gets in people's heads.
Yeah.
After every play, there's a hit, there's a push, there's a shove. Ice the goalie, stick to go after the puck 55 times at the goalie. Stuff like that just creates penalties. He gets in the people's heads and they don't play their game. Edmonton's game is a fast game, free flow skating game. It's not the game that Florida's forcing them to play. They are not a dump and chase team. They are not a muck and grinding team. They're a lightning fast team who needs open ice to succeed, and they're just not seeing it.
They're not getting it. That's the biggest thing. They're not getting any open ice
at
all. They're taking away time and space. Florida is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're taking away time and space, and it's just not only are they agitating, but just playing that type of hockey that Florida's playing is enough to frustrate those guys too, and it shows. It shows.
Oh, I mean, it really does. Again, it's not the kind of hockey I like to see, but it's efficient. Obviously, it's effective because they're getting ready to. They have 2 shots at the second cup in a row.
And you figure the general manager Zito and all that, they kind of are weird, right? I heard this from Elliot Friedman today when I was driving around. I thought it was a good point. It's almost like the Oakland A's when they did their Moneyball stuff. The Florida team decided to do something different where no one else was doing it. They're going to go back and play 80s and 90s style hockey, where the rest of the league was talking about, the more no interference, all this stuff, trying to be a little more free flowing offense. And Florida went the other way. And I don't know, no one else can do it as good as them. There are teams that try, but they do it the best. And I guess I got to give them credit for that. They went in a different direction in analytics. Their analytics is more, how many times can I hit you? More, how much can I possess the puck? It's really, I mean, I guess I give them credit, man, because they have a specific type of player they know they need. They get them, and here we are.
And it's also almost like the neutral zone trap. I mean, because there's nothing up the middle, and that's where, and you can see what happens when McDavid gets free. What happens? He'll mow right through you. He'll stick hand right through you and create something. And they've done a really good job of that in the last 2 games or last game and a half. So I really hope they win because I'd like to see 7 games, but I don't know. This one's going to be tough because they're going to have to. First of all, they're going to have to prevent themselves from allowing the first goal. If they allow the opening score, how can they respond to that? Because Florida scores in bunches, right? Mm-hmm. They're not scoring. And they get their head down, and that's it.
What do you think? Let's go around the horn, John. Let's start with you. What are you looking for in this game? What's it going to take for Edmonton to win this? What's it going to take for Florida to win this? What's going to be the the deciding factor in this game tonight?
Florida, for me, just keep doing what you're doing. There's no reason to change a thing. I mean, everything is working, and they got Edmonton. They got Edmonton on the ropes. But as far as Edmonton goes, I really think a guy like Evander Kane could be a missing piece that they need. He needs to be Zach Hyman for them. He needs to be somebody who can hit, show some restraint, but also hit hard. Maybe bump Bobrovsky. Do that stuff. Do those things. Get people mad at you. That's fine. But under control and do that, because I think he could be a difference maker that he hasn't been. I think he should. I honestly, he's the guy. For me, it's him. He could be the difference. He's on the second line. He could seriously help open up some room for McDavid and Draisaitl. I think he has to. That's his job. Can't worry about Corey Perry. He's 40. I mean, it's a little. He's doing all he can do. I think that guy. I do like Kapanen in, by the way. As I recall, with the Maple Leafs in the past in the playoffs, and I think with even the Penguins, he has had some time. I think he was a playoff player. You guys would know better than me with the Penguins. Was he? Did he get?
He was. Yeah.
There was times where he can get loose and he can score a big goal. He has that ability. Now, he was out of control last game. I think that's why he got benched, because if you recall, he had a boatload of penalties. He was going nuts. He was slashing everybody. So I think he could be helpful. But I'm looking for Evander Kane. That's my thing. If they can keep this, let's get the first goal, Edmonton. And Evander Kane needs to be the agitator for Edmonton. He's got to be that guy.
Yeah, I'm looking to see, first of all, how they react to the first barrage of shots from Florida.
Yeah.
Can Skinner hold up? Can the defense hold up? And then, how's their transition game? Can they get up the middle? Can they do anything like that? How do they respond if it's not their first goal? How quickly does Knobloch put Draisaitl and McDavid together? And, how many more changes does he make on the fly in the game? Not before the game, in the game, to see, he should be able to recognize, something within that game and pick the right substitution and pick the right combination, because they have to do that in order to win. And you're right. Use the agitator role. They always say this in basketball. I coached, I played for years. They always said, a team that presses hates to be pressed, right? Hates to be pressed. So you're right, John. Go after that keeper legally. If he puts his hand down on the puck for a save, you chop at it 16 times. Just do it. Nothing hard, but just stick your stick, flat on the ice. Keep trying to get under that. And can they do that the whole game? And can they remain disciplined when Florida goes after them?
Right.
Right.
And I got to say one thing too about this game. The ramifications of this game for the Edmonton Oilers is interesting, because let's say they lose 5-1. Let's say if they pull Skinner, they go to pick, this whole deal starts on. What happens? It's really, there's a lot on the line for Edmonton. How do they adjust? Like the offseason, you're going to need a goalie. If you keep on pulling Skinner out and you keep doing this and that, it's interesting. I think there's a lot on the line. I mean, obviously huge on the line for just winning the cup. But as far as going forward, how many times are you going to keep having to put Draisaitl and McDavid together? You kind of got to stop. That has to be broke. You got to be able to get that. Maybe that happens in the offseason, but you got to figure out a way that those two guys don't have to always be together, because you're kind of, obviously then you're shortening your bench, your team, the whole deal. It's almost like the Knicks in basketball. When they wouldn't go to the bench, everyone's going to get tired out if you can't use it. So when you keep going with Draisaitl and McDavid together, because it's all you got, I think what a huge game for that organization, I think, because they lose again. I'm just curious, how do they figure the changes they need to make? Because they've done a great job, though. To go back to the Cup Finals 2 years in a row in that conference, which is probably harder than the East when you look at the West.
Yeah.
But always come up short. It's interesting to me where they go from here.
Oh yeah, it's way more important to Edmonton than it is Florida. Absolutely. Florida's got the cup. They've been several times. Absolutely for Edmonton. I mean, and you're right. Is this the time they blow it up or what?
Here's what I'm looking for. It's pretty simple. Which team is going to handle emotions better? Is what I'm looking at. You've got the Oilers that have got their back against the wall. This is it. I mean, this is do or die. You lose this, you're going home, and it's another failed attempt at the cup. I think they're going to have urgency. I think that's natural, right? It's natural if you're a team that's facing elimination to have urgency, right? You're professional. It's the freaking
Yep.
NHL. Of course, you're going to have urgency. On the flip side of that, I think if you're Florida, you got to match that urgency. If I'm Paul Maurice, I'm telling them, guys, act like this is Game 7. Act like this is Game 7. Act like this is no tomorrow. They're acting like it's no tomorrow. Let's match that. Let's act like it's no tomorrow as well. I think you need to play if you also to caveat off that. You gotta have urgency, but you also got to play in control. You have to play a controlled game, and if you're the Oilers, especially, because I tell you what, the Panthers have proven time and time again, when their opponents get over aggressive, they just sit back and they capitalize on mistakes. That's what they do, And I just think that,
Well, they've perfected the professional annoyance, which not many teams have, but they have perfected it, and they know when to turn it on and to turn it off. I mean, the idea of going after somebody and lining them up for a check, missing, and them laughing. I mean, that really gets after and under the skin of somebody. And Edmonton's fallen for it.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
This got to be a joke. This got to be a joke. Yeah, this got to be a joke.
What do you do?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what freaking
behavior.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Boy, that's a new one on me. I'm in Pittsburgh, and God, you'd think that would be all over the sports. Ticker. God, yeah. I don't know about that.
Billy, it reminds me of a point you brought up earlier, or maybe John brought it up, is that the Bruins were nice to Marchand. I think if they weren't owned by FSG, that he'd be gone by now.
Yeah,
because he would. They would say, "Hey, man, this is 100% rebuild. Yeah. You've done a lot for us. You can move on.
I mean, that's another topic. Yeah, that's another topic for.
Yeah, but I mean, it is definitely a possibility.
I got to tell you, man, that the Bruins, the Maple Leafs did it to Phil Kessel by sending him to Pittsburgh. That was nice of them. Go get a cup, buddy, because you deserve it. Because we suck here, so here you go. And with Marchand, I mean, you know what? I can't stand him, but I'm hoping he ends up on my favorite team on July 1st. But he has taken less money, constantly taking less. And he's going to cash in this time, and he should, because he can win the Conn Smythe tonight. If he ends up, let's say he gets let's say he scores 2, game winner, a hat trick, he could jump Bennett. I know he's close in the odds with Bennett, I saw, but I could see him winning Conn Smythe tonight.
No, I could see him jumping Bennett, absolutely. Don't forget, it's a popularity contest as well. Although they're both chirpers and annoyance, I think Bennett has more of a bad rap than Marchand does.
Well, yeah, especially this year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about that. I guess let's go around. Let's pick them. John, who do you think? Who do you like tonight, and what's the score and why?
All right, I think here's what. Oh God, what I want, what I think. I'm gonna go with. I've watched Florida not close teams out. That's happened this year, except for the Tampa series. I've watched them have opportunities to close out teams on home ice and not do it. They've done it twice. They even did it to Carolina. But it didn't matter much. They did it with Toronto and, of course, won. I'm going to say Edmonton wins tonight. They'll win the game. And by the way, please bet the over, everyone. It's 6. It always goes over. This game has not gone over. It will go over again. So I give Edmonton the win 4-3 tonight. McDavid is going to bring it back to Edmonton.
I like that. I think Edmonton comes out strong. I really do. I think they come out strong. And there has been no dominance in this series whatsoever. So I'm going to hope. Well, what I want is Edmonton. And I think they can do it. And I'm going to take Edmonton 5-3.
Okay. Well, you know me. I listen. I think the Edmonton Oilers, like I said before, I think they're playing with urgency. They got their back up against the wall. But I tell you what, Florida is on home ice, and boys, the cup's in the building. It's in the building. If that ain't enough motivation to get the job done tonight, I don't know what is. You're on home ice, and the cup's in the building. Enough said. I go 4-2 Panthers.
Have you guys seen the guy who goes around with the white gloves? You know the guy, right? You've seen him.
Oh,
with
yeah.
You know,
Right
this is it for him. This is his final time. He's putting the gloves down. He'll be handing them over to someone else.
Man, I wish I knew that. How do you get that job? That's an awesome job.
Oh, my
all over
God.
the world. Are you kidding me? All over the world. To
Great
the biggest
job.
parties you've ever been to in any country.
Right.
You know, that's wild.
Yeah, this is it for him.
Well, he's been doing it a long time. I mean, God, he's been doing it forever. I mean, I can remember as a kid he was doing it. So that guy's got to be in his, I don't know, he's got to be 70 years old.
What? All right, you guys, you tell me who's winning Conn Smythe tonight. Is it Bennett? Because I know he's got 15 goals or whatever. Who wins? Or your guess?
I'm going with Bennett. I'm going with Bennett. I mean, how could you not? I mean, Florida gets it done tonight. I think it's definitely
Marchand. What if he has a couple goals, maybe a hat? What if he really does? Could he jump him?
He could.
Right?
If he,
You think?
Yeah, he had a hat. He has a hat trick, man. He's
What he did last game?
Yeah, I mean,
the odds are very, very close. I could see him jumping them. And if it
could,
oh yeah, just like John said, he comes out, has a goal and 2 assists. He's got to be. He's the difference.
Okay.
I mean, he's one ahead of Bennett. He's got 6 goals.
Yeah.
In this series, so he is one ahead of Bennett. Yeah, he scores 2 or 3 goals tonight. Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely jumps him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. The one thing that was real impressive was the speed. How the hell he got around? He split 2. You saw the goal. The one goal was just unreal. I mean,
completely ridiculous.
Yeah, it really was. So,
I mean, he had that time when he was younger. To pull that out when you're older on the road, come on.
I can't wait to see how much money well, you know what? You give him 3 years, about $8.5, $9 million a year. That's good for him, and he goes away happy, and everyone's happy. It's the only thing I could think of for him coming up.
I don't know. At his age, really?
He might. Well, he's going to get paid, right? Someone's giving him he's going to get 2 or 3 years somewhere if he wants to play, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you're Edmonton, why would you not?
You know, Florida's got a couple guys, right? You got Ekblad, Bennett, and Marchand tonight will be free agents after it's all said and done with tonight or Friday.
Absolutely, but Edmonton, you need somebody like that. Come on, they really.
Yeah. Let's just I don't know. Let's look at this. Let's kind of examine this for a second. If Florida wins tonight, wins the cup, that'll be back-to-back cups. What do you guys think of? Where is this the making kind of the start maybe of a dynasty there?
Yeah,
maybe it's hard to say because of the age of the players. You know, they're not that young.
I mean, the East is probably Florida's to lose for sure. I mean, again, next year. I do think they're going to have to lose. I think Bennett's going to stay. I don't think Ekblad will be able to, but I think that's why they have Seth Jones. And so Ekblad might leave. So that makes it interesting. Will Marchand stay in Florida maybe? He might. He loves it there. So, I mean, I think it might be because in the East, I don't know of anyone. The Metro is completely shot. I mean, other than when Washington kind of did what they did at the end. And if you're looking at the Atlantic, they're all up for grabs. The Leafs and Lightning, what do they get? I don't know with them. And you know what I'm saying? So the East is kind of what really theirs in my eyes, where the West is a little more harder for Edmonton to come back again.
Yeah, true. Yeah. True that. I think that. I mean, how many times have they been to the Cup in the last couple of years? This is the third trip.
Third straight, yeah.
Third out of 4 is third straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's dynastic yet because they really didn't do anything before that, right?
Right.
You go 4 years in a row, you win 2, 5 years, you win 3. That's pretty darn good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
It's a lot of hockey. Think about all the hockey.
That is a lot of hockey.
You know, and I think this organization, when you look at 5 years ago, this was an organization that was on the fringe, and now this is an organization that is really, I think has made a turn in the right direction, obviously, and
no doubt.
A franchise that now looks like it's going to be here to stay for a long period of time. If they win tonight, I mean, hey, we might be back here, talking about
Next
something
Tuesday.
different next week.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. I mean,
Edmonton's comeback. Yeah.
yeah,
How many? Yeah, think about it. Edmonton's won 27 playoff games in the last 2 years, and got nothing to show for it. That's a lot of games. It's a lot of games, man, to win. And
I just think it's going to be tough for them to get the job done tonight. I mean, like I said, it's going to be tough. It's going to, you're on the road, you're facing elimination, and like I said, the team, that you're facing is at home, and the cup's in the building, and like I said, that's for me, that's motivation enough for the Panthers.
I've got another thing for Edmonton. I asked me earlier, Bill. Where's the second thing I was thinking of besides Evander Kane? Block some shots, block a lot of them. Try not to let the puck get to Skinner. I watched Toronto do that against them in Game 6 in Florida when they were backs to the wall. They were down 3-2. They blocked so many shots that night, and then they ended up shutting them out 2-0. Block shots tonight. Don't let the puck through. Because to be perfectly honest with you, the one thing Edmonton is, they are a better skill. They are better that way skill wise.
Yeah.
So block some shots, man. Really get in the lanes and block.
I mean, let's face it. The defense for Edmonton has been very porous. They've let their goaltenders out to dry, and they have. And I mean, they got to. I mean, Game 5 was bad. Game 5 was bad. Defensively.
Yeah.
And they've got to get that cleaned up. That should be number one priority.
Game 4 was bad too because it was 3-0 before they woke up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've left their goaltender out to dry a lot, and they've got to get that tightened up, especially tonight. I mean, this is it, man.
But surrendering a goal before the end of a period with 40-some seconds—that's unacceptable.
Oh yeah,
completely unacceptable. And that's the stuff they need to avoid. Leveraging tired legs, and they don't get the final change. So it'll take a Herculean effort, but I think they can do it.
Hey, it's hard chasing games too, guys. I tell you what, it takes a lot out of the team that it has to chase all the time. Yeah. It does. And that's another factor I look at. How Florida has kind of played loose and it's kind of been nonchalant for them. Yeah. Edmonton has just had to every ounce of energy has been just trying to stay afloat. I think there could be a little bit of a fatigue factor tonight if you're Edmonton.
You got to sneak one in if you're Edmonton. Somehow, some way, you got to bank it off someone's leg, off of someone's hat. Something's got to happen where you get that first goal.
Yeah,
you go up 1-0. I think you change. The crowd shuts up. Everybody calms down, and there you go. Now you can actually settle in and because you're right. They scored that first goal, Florida. I'm not quite sure if Edmonton. I don't know. You're right. Fatigue could. I don't know. At that point, it's 1-0. You're going to start thinking, I'm sure, bad thoughts. That's got to be human nature. And then, Corey Perry was the one who supposedly spoke out somehow, according to Draisaitl, in the second intermission when they were down 3-0, who kind of shook everyone. You can only have that happen so many times until you got to get that first goal. You need it.
He's a storied veteran, and I'm sure those guys will listen to him. And I think that's kind of why they brought him in there, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he wasn't allowed to stay in Chicago, so.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He just... I think he wins everything. He's always in the Stanley Cup Finals, though. We know
Very
that.
True.
Yeah. But honestly, if I'm Edmonton, I'm just throwing rubber at the net all night long. Why not?
Yeah, yes. But I tell you what, though, Ed, like I'm saying, you can't be over aggressive. Because over aggressive sometimes leads to costly mistakes. And I tell you what, Florida just they're good at capitalizing on this.
Oh, there's no doubt there's a
No, I
balance.
agree with you, Ed. You got to pepper the net with
You
with
have
shots.
to. You have to.
You know, I agree. Especially coming out, you have to control the game when the puck drops. You know, here very soon. You've got to control the game. You've got to be in control.
You really want to see, for me, I really want to see Edmonton blocking shots in their own zone. I want to see them allow Florida in. Just don't allow the shots through. You can do that. That's something that can be done. I mean, and they have the defensively, they certainly have it. I mean, they got big guys back there, Nurse and Ekholm and stuff. It isn't as though they're a small defensive group. And you know, the forwards, they got to be. I'm telling you, let them in there. Let them in the zone. Just keep them on the outside, block shots, and then you can have some transition and go the other way because you can sneak behind them. You are faster than them.
Yeah.
And maybe just try to get into that where you get some breakaways go. You got to try to, you're going to have to try to cheat a little too, as a matter, I think, offensively, a little bit. Block some shots, get out there, maybe get some breakaways because you got to get something going here, man. And right now, time and space is, like you said, is shot. There's none.
Edmonton has to play, you know, and it's obvious, but they really have to play like there is no tomorrow because there is not. And if they come out, you know, their hair on fire and they're able to maintain that momentum, and like Billy said, you know, limit the fatigue, you know, rotate 4 lines, but give them everything you have. I think they'll have a chance.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Take the 80 Olympic approach, right?
Yep.
You know, play your game, go out there and you know, don't worry about what they're doing, worry about what you're doing and you know, try to
damn everything else and just, you know, get in there and win the game.
Yeah.
You know, that's what, at least that's what I would do if I were
you figure they could draw back on, look at the teams they beat to get here. I mean, they beat Las Vegas, right? They beat Dallas. Or no, I'm sorry, they beat LA and Vegas and Dallas. All right, to get here, they beat teams that we thought were Stanley Cup certainly more than just contenders, thought they could win.
Cup favorite in Dallas, absolutely.
I'm thinking
if I'm Edmonton, I'm Coach Knobloch. I got me a boom box in the locker room, and I'm playing Kenny Loggins. This is it. I'm playing it over and over again.
Oh, too soft, Billy.
Everyone's leaving. Oh my God, man!
That's
some yacht rock.
I'm playing it. I'm playing some yacht rock. I'm playing it. We're doing it. But you know, no, I'm serious. I mean, it's this is it. I mean, it's a good song. You know, this is it.
It is a great song. Yeah.
Make no mistake where you are.
Yeah, too soft.
Yeah. Too soft.
Too soft.
I don't know.
Too soft.
It starts off a little soft.
Listen to that.
There we go. See, there it is. We got it. Who's responsible for this? Who's responsible for that song? I don't even know. Who is?
That's Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins. Oh, okay.
Little Kenny Loggins action. This is it. Make no mistake where you are.
No mistake about it. No, Billy, come on.
Well, although that's a little harder than what they've been playing in that locker room lately, from what I understand, the Edmonton Oilers. Did you hear that Pink Pony, whatever the hell they're playing in there? No. So I don't know what's going on, but that might be Loggins might be turning it up a notch.
Yeah,
it might be.
Yeah,
or get some Canadian rock if they have it.
Yeah, that's a good man.
Yep. So, all right, gentlemen. Any other final thoughts from you guys?
I want Game 7 because I
do too. I think it's going to be entertaining tonight. You know, because I mean, anytime you have an elimination, it generally brings the best out of both teams, and I think it's going to be a good game tonight.
Casual viewers as well,
right?
For all the Puckett fans, listen real quick though. If this ends tonight or whenever it ends, the season starts right up. I mean, because you got the draft is coming in a couple days. You're going to see trades happening. I think you're going to the season isn't going to just be one big continuation again. And so the fans of Puckett in hockey, it's not over, even though it'll be sad because I miss hockey.
Yeah, but you're right. It picks up,
quick,
very quickly. They start in August, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we might be talking next week. How the Florida Panthers pulled it off and how they
Yeah.
You know, won the cup for the second straight year in a row. Or we might be saying, hey, you know, it was a good game 7, and you know, who knows? We might be saying we might be talking the Edmonton Oilers, you know, winning in game 7, or who knows, winning in, you know, we don't know, or Panthers winning in game 7. I don't know. I just have a feeling Panthers are going to get it done tonight. That's just my gut feeling. I just have that feeling, that intuition. So we'll see. Edward, got any final thoughts there, bud?
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the game tonight. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to be a good one, and we'll be back next week to break it all down for you. And I'm sure, you know, we'll have a lot to talk about to close it out. So, but all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.